have spoken about this before, but I do have a lot of uncomfort about America's relationship with Israel, the Israeli political leaders. That's what I mean. I believe that group it just feels like a satanic regime. It feels like they just want to cause pain.
Oh my God.
All right, so I want to get into this conversation that Theo was having, and I think it's an important one to have, and I think it shows a lot of courage. And if you hear just in his voice the things that he's saying, you could tell that he actually cares. He's not doing this to be an anti-Semite or to just throw dirt on Israel's name. There's some people that just look at the situation and believe that there's some demonic evil things that are happening. And it seems to be that Israel, in my opinion, is pushing for a lot of these things and okay with getting them by any evil means necessary that they deem necessary in order to accomplish their goals in that region. And I'm glad that people like Theo are speaking out on it. So let's take a look at this clip and we'll go through it, review it. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. I'll let you know mine.
I have spoken about this before, but I do have a lot of uncomfort about America's relationship with Israel, the Israeli political leaders. That's what I mean. I believe that group it just feels like a satanic regime. It feels like they just want to cause pain. They don't even know where all the bodies from Gaza are, and they're already moved on to other places that they are attacking, and that America's associated now with their attacks.
Everything that he just said, I agree with. And this is the whole concept around this 8-front war. It's like, how many different places are y'all trying to go into and create all this evil and destruction to conquer, to extort, colonize, imperialize, whatever the goal is, by claiming peace through strength, by claiming this is a defensive war? No, it's not, bro. No, it's not. And we're complicit in all this stuff. And for a lot of wars, or at least you could look at the Iraq war with Netanyahu coming over here and claiming that there's weapons of mass destruction, having us get engaged in a war where 1 million people die, 500,000 children die, and then there's no weapons of mass destruction that are found, and not one Israeli soldier even went over there to fight. So it just makes you question all of these things. Like, why are we getting involved in these wars? Why are we acting as if we're not participating in this demonic behavior and being complicit in it and perhaps even promoting it? Why are we not putting an end to this? Why are we allowing this behavior to happen?
And I believe that will come here one day. I don't believe that the Israeli leaders, that they have any intention to stop that. I don't see that they have any care for the American people. It doesn't seem like that.
Here will justify going to war for all these reasons that Marco Rubio stated, that various other people have stated, to protect Israel. And even when you hear them speak about why we're engaged in a war with Iran, it sounds like they're a threat of attacking us. You got Mark Levin now trying to bring up old newspaper articles from Zionist sources and saying that now Iran had something to do with 9/11 and all these things that they're trying to bring up. It's like, come on, bro. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I thought these are supposed to be God's chosen people. So shouldn't God's chosen people be moving us in a more godly way, or should it be moving us in a more demonic way? Shouldn't God's chosen people be able to figure out a solution to this problem in a more godly way rather than solving things in a demonic way? Regardless of who's getting killed, there's a lot of people getting killed on both sides. So instead of us looking at this like a fan of one side, like we're rooting for our favorite sports team, let's look at it big picture wise. If you were looking at this from a God standpoint, right? You're looking down, and do you care about who's picking sides, or do you just look at it and say, like, damn, like my children are killing each other? And you got the ones that I chose to be the leaders. I left y'all in control of the classroom. I made y'all captains of the team. Y'all are my chosen people. And y'all are the ones that it seems like are pushing and promoting for this stuff more than anybody else. It seems like y'all are the aggressors. Seems like y'all are on the offensive. Everybody else is playing defense. We've heard the Iranian leadership, the foreign minister say, yo, we're fine with defending ourselves. We are defending ourselves. Nobody looking at this situation looks at a lot of these countries and says like, oh yeah, they're on the aggressive. They're being aggressive when it comes to Israel. It's just not that. It's just not that. And perhaps because Israel is in the situation, they're involved, they're so close to it, they can't see the big picture. That's even more so why it's on us to address a lot of these things and call a spade. Like, yo, y'all are bugging right now. And it looks bad. And a lot of the young Americans are not on board with this stuff the way that a lot of older Americans have just been complicit in this. We're exposed to a lot of other things. And I say we're, like I'm one of the young Americans. I'm talking about 20 to 30-year-olds. They're not with it. And guess what? Those are going to be the people that are eventually, if this war escalates and there is a draft and we're relying on a lot of those people to go out there and fight it, there's going to be a problem here. That could result in a civil war. That could tear the country apart. Why are we risking this with our country, tearing our country apart, having our young Americans die in this war for another country? They don't seem to be prioritizing our well-being. Why are we so steadfast on prioritizing what they say is theirs? And especially when we're looking at it and we're like, yo, I've seen videos from I think it was the Jordan foreign minister. I think this was a video back in 2024 where he was saying like our Arab countries, we can guarantee a ceasefire. We'll guarantee it. But it seems as if Israel doesn't have interest in a two-state solution. It seems like Israel is interested in accomplishing this greater Israel project that aligns with this clean break strategy that Netanyahu had commissioned back in 1996. And now we're seeing it all come to fruition. And mostly everybody's just standing back, too scared to say something. I've told y'all before, I had a historian getting ready to come on the show. And before, we're discussing, the payment, I was going to pay him, compensate him. He's an expert. I want your expert opinion. So after we got the money out the way, now we're talking about what we're actually getting ready to discuss. And he's talking about, well, I prefer to avoid this type of situation or approach it from this standpoint. If you ask me like this, I can touch on it here, but I probably won't be. Bro, you're an American studying to get your PhD at a well-known university in America, and you're scared to report on certain things about Israel? But here in America, we just speak freely. We can say whatever we want about our government. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why we allow it. I understand what's going on. I mean, all you got to do is open up your eyes and say like, okay, clearly there seems to be some sort of threat with people discussing this issue right here compared to what we're allowed to discuss, right? So clearly there's something there. There's some power play. There's some type of leverage that makes this particular group so protected while our own country just seems to be risking our lives and being vulnerable.
And I believe that if we don't speak up now, that our children won't have the chance to speak up, either by law or by worse. And I don't understand our government's relationship with Israel's leaders and with Israel's government. I don't understand it. It feels like there's this war machine and then our soldiers are put into these spaces and they're just there to serve an America that they believe in. And it's no knock against them or anything like that. It's just, it just feels like it's causing a lot of pain and fear.
He brought up an excellent point, something that I would actually challenge. Maybe it is on our soldiers. Maybe it is on us, the pawns, the peasants, right? These people in power would never be able to do the things that they do unless we buy into it. I've said this over and over. Unless we buy into it with our soldiers going over there to fight and executing on these orders, or we buy into it by being complicit and standing back and not saying anything, not challenging our politicians to push against it. Unless we do those things, and perhaps I should rephrase the question, do we have an obligation to do those things? Because it seems like we believe that, we should just take whatever orders that our country gives us. If you're in the army, your general gives you an order, you got to go with it or we should just back our country in whatever conflict our country decides to get in. No. What you're doing is you're making your general God. You're making the person give you those orders to kill somebody else. So now you're violating God's principles because of another man. And what are the rest of us doing? We should support a country more than we support our godly principles, our spiritual principles. And a lot of people are doing it in the name of religion, which makes it even worse. This is what we touch on all the time. All of these people are committing these atrocities and evil in the name of religion because they know that that's the way that they have to get people on board to look the other way in a lot of ways, right? I have to justify this with religion. I have to make it okay with religion, because other than that, why would we even be on board with this? It's like they have to compromise the religious aspect rather than people in leadership positions in religion challenging people, let's say like a Muhammad Ali, who said, I'm not fighting this Vietnam War. It doesn't align with my conscience based on my religion. And he actually won his appeal after being sentenced to 5 years in prison and a fine. So why aren't the rest of us that are religious, spiritual, godly, however else you want to describe it, why are we not challenging man's principles and what man is directing us to do if it clearly violates our godly principles? We know this. It's biblical scripture. Violence only begets violence. So whether there's justified violence, and what does the Bible say? Vengeance is for God only. So therefore, let God deal with that. Because as soon as we start justifying, well, this violence is okay in order to accomplish this goal, in order to help this group of people, what are we doing, bro? These are the most demonic things that we can do. That's why the devil tries to separate us. God is supposed to bring us together. But it seems like we are just picking and choosing based out of the fear of not going along with man and the consequences that come from that. It seems like we fear that a little bit more than the consequences of violating God's commandments, violating godliness, violating God's principles, morals, and values.
And it's no knock against them or anything like that. It's just, it just feels like it's causing a lot of pain and fear. And yeah, I don't understand I don't understand Trump's relationship. I don't understand our political, like, why we are so beholden to this government, this Israeli government that just seems to be obsessed with control. And it feels like bloodlust, like they just like, it's not enough. Like after what happened in Gaza, I don't see how there could be any other view. They're making laws now. There are bills being presented where we won't even have a chance to have a voice at some point. There's surveillance infrastructure that's being put into place. There's a lot of things happening right now. And some people are like, well, it's too much for me to get involved in. I understand that. But yeah.
I don't understand it. And it's funny that Theo, I wanted to stop the video earlier when he said that he doesn't understand the relationship between Trump and Israel, but then he does understand, as he just stated, why people feel like it's too much for me to get involved with. No, it's not too much. It's only too much because everybody has embraced this fear, and that's how they control us, right? If everybody believes it's too much rather than everybody believing, no, this is my duty, this is my obligation, this is my responsibility as a human to stand on these type of things, especially the people that claim that they're godly beings or religious beings, spiritual beings, whatever category you fit in. So why do you not have an obligation, a duty, and responsibility to stand up against these things? I don't understand that. And maybe I do understand it, but I just don't respect it. And when Theo says he doesn't understand the relationship between Trump and Israel, what don't you understand? Trump got a big bag of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, from pro-Zionist, pro-Israel backing, and now he's executing on the things that they want to happen. What's not to understand? Just like a lot of other politicians have received a lot of money, that's why they remain quiet on a lot of these things. They'll push back to a certain extent, but think about it. They seem to all be on board when it comes to allowing the genocide of the Palestinians to happen, but it's just to different degrees, right? You'll see certain people speak out about certain things. You'll see a Van Jones, who is a Democrat, supporting us going in there and quote unquote freeing the Iranians. Let the Iranians free themselves. I was watching a video of what was going on in the 70s when the Ayatollah came back to Iran after he was, I guess, they kicked him out of the country or expelled, whatever, and then came back. And he started implementing a lot of these harsh laws, especially the ones that were with women and how they can behave in public, how they can dress in public. And a lot of people are pointing to those type of videos and saying, see, this is why it's important. They have an oppressive regime. Well, guess what? In America, do we need to go back to the civil rights? Do we need to go back to what, 10 years before? We're looking at maybe less than 10 years in a lot of ways. We're acting as if in 1970, because something was happening in Iran, okay, well, 10, 20 years before that, what was happening in America? So now, because they're perhaps a little bit delayed, or they took they were moving forward as far as becoming more advanced and allowing women to be more of a part of society and have a certain level of fairness and equality, right? But because they now backtracked, now we feel like we need to step in, like, wake up, bro. That's not, America's getting involved because of the resources. Trump made it very clear. He doesn't care if there's a democratic leadership in Iran. He just wants them to treat America and Israel fairly, which means allowing us to extort you for your natural resources and to control all the things that you can control, and you go along with the things that align with our agenda. We solved our problems, right? We didn't have another country come in here and say, yo, y'all ain't treating black people right in this country. Y'all aren't treating women right in this country. So therefore, yeah, we're going to take over. We're going to have a regime change. We're going to kidnap your president. No, we wouldn't like that. But now we feel like we're the savior for all these other countries. We have our own issues to worry about in America. But now we feel like we can be the savior to somebody else. It's ridiculous.
There's surveillance infrastructure that's being put into place. There's a lot of things happening right now. And some people are like, well, it's too much for me to get involved in. I understand that. But yeah, I believe that if we don't speak up now, and it may already be too late, but if we don't speak up now, that one day our kids will not be able to. And it's disappointing to me too that a lot of our religious leaders haven't said anything. I don't understand it. And I think this has been going on for a long time. I do not understand.
I wanted to let him talk a little bit, but the religious leaders, what's not to understand? You're putting them, and this is the problem when it comes to religion and putting religious leaders on some sort of pedestal. No, they're humans. They're humans. They're influenced by fear. They're influenced by seeking money and what fattens their pockets. They're influenced by the very same things that all of us other humans are influenced by, maybe even worse. Maybe even worse. I would make that argument, but that's for a different day, different conversation. What don't you understand? They're not truly godly people. If any religious leader, and shout out, I believe, hold on, I think my mom just sent me something. I believe my mom just sent me something, because I don't want to say that, obviously I'm not talking about all religious leaders, but I believe the Pope just came out and it says Pope escalates call for ceasefire in Iran by addressing those responsible for the war. I didn't even look at the article. So maybe the Pope said something, but where is everybody? Why isn't there some type of unity? Calling out people violating God in the name of God. Like, where are all the stand-up people that are going to speak up about this? And you know what it is? It's people only are concerned with them. They're only concerned with their church, their congregation, how the business of their particular religious organization is doing. And they will totally disregard getting involved in any conversation that may put them at risk or put a spotlight on them, because they're all worried about being singled out. And meanwhile, it should be a group effort. This should be a united front. This is nothing that we should have to be singled out for. There's death and destruction that is running rampant in the Middle East region. Israel seems to think that they can do any and everything in that region. And a lot of the reasons why they think they can is because they have our support. We sit back and we wonder, well, yeah, they said death to America. They called us the big Satan. Look what we're doing. Look at the millions of deaths that we contribute to over the last 40, 50 years. I think it's something like, I keep referencing John Mearsheimer saying, he was referencing a study from Brown University where it says that we've contributed between 1971, I believe, and 2021, we've contributed to 38 million deaths. The United States of America. And I believe the number of Americans that have died during that time period, it's like 10,000. Something crazy like that. It's the reason why we're in this position right now today is the same reason why perhaps America and the world has never been in a peaceful position overall. And perhaps why maybe there's certain pockets here and there. Cool. But overall, it's because leadership does not stand up against the evil. In this battle of good versus evil, in this battle of principles, we don't establish a universal principle. We allow certain groups of people to get away with things just because they're a particular special chosen group of people. And I'm not even just talking about Jewish people or Israel right now. This is the same play that happened with America. Look up Manifest Destiny, Doctrine of Discovery. Why do you think Christianity is the largest religion in the world? How do you think they spread the religion? By them getting the okay to go to whatever country that's currently not Christian, currently not believing in your God, the way that you serve your God, the way that you believe in your God, whatever, and thinking that you can pillage, do whatever you want with the women in those lands and just destroy them and take them over. Christopher Columbus energy, colonizing energy, imperialist energy. So it's not just the Jewish people that have shown that they believe that they're chosen. This is rampant in Christianity as well. It's how America was founded. But we don't feel comfortable having these conversations, right? And perhaps this is why a lot of Christians aren't willing to call out what Israeli leadership is doing, because we know that this is how America was created as well.
Trump's like infatuation with or like beholding to this government. But they've had, Israeli government's been involved in America for a long time throughout countless political party leaders. So it's nothing new. It just feels very extreme right now, and it feels very scary. That's what it feels like. And I don't understand how our relationship with them is helping America.
Well, it's not. Point blank, period. It's not. So there's nothing to understand. What Theo's, in my opinion, what he's trying to say is this doesn't make sense, and I don't get why people are trying to make it seem like it should make sense when clearly it doesn't. But I appreciate Theo voicing this opinion. I appreciate him standing on things more than we've seen a lot of other people stand on them. But this is something at the end of the day where I'm glad Theo mentioned that if we don't step up and say things and stand on things, stand on principles, then imagine the position that we're going to put a lot of our children in. How selfish is that? Because we don't want to address something that we know that we should address. Now we're going to have our next generation, our kids go fight a war that should never be fought, a war that should definitely not be fought by us. But I'm going to say that it shouldn't be fought anyways, because I don't agree with war. It makes no sense. It's against any godly teaching. Violence only begets violence. Why do we have these scriptures? I don't get it. How are we supposed to be a Christian nation, but then we just violate all the Christian principles, the Christ consciousness, the Jesus consciousness in all of us? I was getting ready to say, I don't get it. Let me rephrase that. It's very cowardly. It's very cowardly, and cowardly behavior is going to continue to allow evil to turn our world into a demonic place where perhaps God will decide to destroy it again and start over with a new race of people. I'll see y'all on the next video. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.